Hello, dear friends. Jason, your favorite storyteller, is here again to bring you another story that will make you go sorry what. Ready? Well then, get cozy and let's dive right in. It's 1 p.m., about an hour before I finish work on a Wednesday, as I head out to the front of the house to collect another load of bricks. Just as I begin to load the bricks, I watch as a pale green Toyota Camry drives past. It looks exactly like my brother's car. Seeing the driver, I realize that it is indeed my brother's car, being driven by his wife Veronica. I almost wave, but it's clear she hasn't noticed me over on the sidewalk at the house we're building. I'm Jack Button, a 30-year-old bricklayer. Well, that's the job I've been doing for the last 5 months anyway. Before that I worked as a trades assistant, a painter, an Uber driver, and about 10 other different jobs since I left high school 12 years ago now. I never seem to have much money, but I always get by. I live in Boise, Idaho along with my family. There's my younger brother Billy, 28, his wife Veronica, 27, and their 2 young kids, Jason and Melissa, 7 and 5 years old respectively. Billy is a plumber and works for my father's small plumbing business, along with my father John and mother Mary. I do have a younger sister as well named Britney at 25, but she's turned out to be the brains in our family, leaving Boise to go to college in California, where she now works near San Francisco as a developer. I'm the black sheep of the family though, drifting from job to job, and not getting along too well with my father since I was a teenager. He's never held back in letting me know how disappointed he is in me, that I didn't get a trade, and for refusing to follow him into the family business like my little brother has. I don't really care, I'm happy for my brother to take over once my dad retires, although at only 55, he's still got some more good years of work left in him yet. My mom tries her best to involve me with my dad, but she's been fighting a losing battle since I was 15. We're both as stubborn as each other. Billy on the other hand gets along with everybody, loves his family, loves his job, although I wouldn't call him the sharpest tool in the shed, and he's also quick to temper. He's a good plumber but doesn't have a head for business, which is why my dad is so pissed with me. He knows I could run the business, but I just don't care to. As I wrapped up my shift at the house we're building, I got on my motorbike to head home, or the bar, haven't made my mind up yet. As I rode around the corner, I spotted my brother's car parked in the driveway of a nice house. It must be a friend of Veronica's. The car parked beside it in the driveway looks like a brand new red Chevrolet, which had a big sign on the door for Boise Motors, one of the car yards in town. One of the perks of working for a builder is that we start early and finish early. It's only 2 p.m. as I head to a bar downtown. Upon leaving the bar after 5 p.m., I happened to ride past the Boise Motors car yard and saw the same red Chevrolet I'd seen earlier. What surprised me was that an old school and workmate Micky Johnstone was the guy getting into the car. I pulled over, turned around and began to follow him home. Sure enough, he pulled into the same house where I'd seen my sister-in-law parked earlier in the afternoon. As far as I know, Micky is single like myself. We kind of got along in school. He was always popular and knew how to manipulate people. I guess that's what makes him a good car salesman now. One of the jobs I used to do was as a parts courier, delivering spare parts to the different car yards around Boise, and that's when I caught up with Micky again. We even used to go out together a few times for beers and women. Although I usually ended up with the beers, and Micky with the women. Yeah, he was a player, right? A real ladies' man. So, what the duck is Veronica doing at his house after lunch on a Wednesday when Billy's at work and the kids are in school? The obvious crossed my mind, but I refuse to believe it. Billy and Veronica seem to me to be happy and in love with a young family. They started dating when Veronica was in her senior year at high school, and were later married before either of them had turned 20. Billy was almost 21 when his son was born, although I did get him drunk anyway. What else are older brothers for? I figured there had to be an explanation for why Veronica would be visiting Micky's house. Maybe he now has a girlfriend I don't know about. I put it out of my mind and headed home. I wasn't going to say anything to my brother. I don't really know if there's anything to say. The weekend went by. I almost got lucky on Saturday night at the bar, but the woman I fancied had overbearing ugly friends that dragged her away from me before I could seal the deal. Ducking ugly witches. During the week I was back on the job, but when I left the site on Wednesday, I again spotted my brother's car parked at Micky's place. Micky's red Chevrolet was also parked beside it, as I started to get a sinking feeling in my gut. Does Micky have a girlfriend that Veronica is visiting, or is Veronica Micky's girlfriend? And why would Micky be there if Veronica was visiting his girlfriend? I don't like where this is going. I get along well with my younger brother Billy, and with his wife Veronica. I used to look out for Billy a lot when we were younger. He always tried to follow me into the crap I was getting into. That's another reason my dad wasn't happy with me. To him, Billy was a good kid that was being led astray by his older, more irresponsible brother. Maybe some of that was true, but Billy was the one wanting to follow me into mischief. I always saw it as my role to make sure he never got into the worst of it, that I protected him a little from what could happen. Not that Billy couldn't stand up for himself or fight, he could do both of those things. Just that he was too trusting and a little too easy to manipulate on the account of him being not too bright. Some of the guys I knew had no problem trying to take advantage of that and get Billy to do sheep he shouldn't be. That's where I always stepped in, telling them to find someone else to do their dirty work. Veronica and Billy seem like a great match too, with her being the attractive brains of their relationship, while Billy is the brawn, the loyal supportive breadwinner and father. Veronica also works part-time as an executive assistant for a business downtown, and to me she always seemed like a great mom that loves her family. They both have a big mortgage for a nice 4-bedroom house, and plan on having another kid to go with the 2 they've already got. So, to think that Veronica could be cheating on Billy with Micky ducking Johnstone of all people, is a little hard to swallow. That weekend I happened to see Micky out at a bar downtown with a couple of other guys from the car yard. When they spotted me, they called me over to join them for a beer or two. Well, I got along with Micky's workmates a little better than with Micky himself. It was still a good catch-up with the guys I used to work with. What I did find out during the night was that Micky was indeed still single and lives alone. So, what the duck is Veronica doing there? And what the hell do I tell my brother? I thought about it during the week, about talking to my brother Billy about what I've discovered. The truth is I don't really know if Veronica's cheating on him with Micky, it just looks that way. Is that really enough to destroy my brother's marriage and family? I know Billy, there's no way in hell he'd put up with Veronica cheating on him. It'd be the end of their marriage for sure. Then what about the kids? What about their mortgage? She would probably end up staying in the house with full custody of the kids, while Billy has to move out, pay rent and then child support with house payments on top as well. To top it off, Billy is already part owner of my parents' plumbing business. Would they be forced to sell that or pay out Veronica in a messy divorce too? This is not good. I need to be sure before I do or say anything. On Wednesday at 2 p.m. after work I rode past Micky's house once more. Yet again I saw my sister-in-law's car parked in his driveway along with Micky's car. This time I went down to the dealership to see if Micky was still at work. I made up some bullshit reason for dropping by the parts department, talking to the guys I drank with on the weekend. Micky wasn't there, I found out. He goes home for a long lunch every Wednesday. He gets back to the office by 3 p.m. Duck. It looks like my worst fears are true. Veronica is ducking Micky every Wednesday after lunch. Why the duck would she do this? Why risk everything she's got with my brother and their family? Just for an idiot like Micky Johnstone. It makes no sense to me. But for now, I'm not going to say anything to Billy. I need to think about this. If it's true it'll destroy him. On Friday, Billy called me to ask if I was interested in going out to a comedy show downtown tonight. I asked him if Veronica was going, maybe I could talk with her at some point during the night. No, he told me she's heading out for girls' night with some of her co-workers, and they've got mom and dad playing babysitters for the night. I declined the invite, but did take notice of where Billy said Veronica was going. Maybe I'll go there for a few drinks, and have a quiet chat with her. I got to the large bar downtown a little later than I planned to. I always take too long to get my sheet together. I wandered around a bit looking for Veronica, expecting to see her with a group of friends or up on the dance floor. But I saw neither, maybe they left already to go to another bar. I ordered a beer and sat down at a table near the bar, contemplating what to do when I saw Veronica leaving a table near the back to go to the ladies' toilets. I couldn't see who she was sitting with, their table was in a darker part of the bar, and was a good distance from where I was sitting. I got up and moved, walking down the opposite side of the bar to where her table is. The dance floor was in between where I was now sitting drinking my beer as I watched Veronica return to the table. I could see that it's a guy she's sitting with, and it looks from here to be Micky Johnstone. So, she tells her husband she's having a girls' night out just to meet up with the guy she's ducking. I've never felt so disappointed in someone. I was hoping I was wrong all along. To make it worse, I watched as she leaned over and began kissing him. Duck you, Veronica. I wanted to walk over and confront them both right now, to punch Micky in the face, and to demand that Veronica goes home to her children. But it's not my place. I'm not her husband, this is not my fight. I can't believe she'd do this so publicly as well. Who knows who else might be here that could see her clearly stepping out on her husband. If those type of rumors started circling, it would kill my brother to be humiliated that way. Before I could figure out what I should do or possibly even say to her, they both got up and walked out of the bar. I gave them 30 seconds or so before I followed them out the door. I couldn't see them anywhere, so I began walking towards another bar that was not far down the road. As I began walking along the sidewalk, I saw Micky's car drive past with Veronica in the passenger seat. They're probably heading back to his place, god damn it. I know Billy plays golf every Saturday morning with his friends, when it isn't winter anyway. Maybe I'll give Veronica a visit tomorrow morning while Billy's out, talk some sense into her before she destroys everything. As I arrived at my brother's house, his old neighbor was out front gardening and gave me a scowl. He never did like how loud my motorcycle is, but duck him. I woke up and knocked on the door. Young Jason answered the door. I could hear Veronica calling out from the kitchen. "Who's it, sweetie?" she called out. "It's Uncle Jack, Mom," Jason replied. I greeted Jason, before making my way through to the kitchen where Veronica and her daughter Melissa were making something with dough. "Oh, hi Jack. Billy's at golf this morning. He left about an hour ago," Veronica stated when she saw me. "Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I forgot," I lied to Veronica. As Veronica finished placing the shaped dough on a baking tray, she placed it into the oven before asking Melissa to go wash her hands. Jason had already gone back to playing a video game in the lounge room, which gave me a moment alone with Veronica. "So, you don't usually stop over on Saturdays? What's up?" Veronica asked as she turned to face me. "Well, I was hoping to have a quiet chat with you, away from the kids. If you don't mind," I replied. Veronica looked at me a little strangely, before nodding and telling Jason to share the game with Melissa, while Mommy and Uncle Jack go out into the backyard. They've got an outdoor table and chairs, so we sat down to talk. "So, is this about Billy? Has he done something?" Veronica asked. "No, Billy's fine. I actually wanted to talk about you, and something you've done," I replied while watching her reaction. "Something I've done? What on earth are you talking about, Jack?" Veronica answered. "Micky Johnstone, that's what," I replied, again watching to see how she'd react. "Who's Micky Johnstone? I don't know anyone with that name," Veronica replied after a brief moment of silence. "I know, Veronica. People talk. I'm here to ask you to stop this sheep. To think about Billy and your family. Micky isn't worth it, not even close," I responded. "I still have no idea what you're talking about. Are you accusing me of cheating on my husband?" Veronica replied defiantly. "I'm here asking you to stop, to not let this go any further. Right now, Billy doesn't have to know. You can save your marriage and not duck everything up. It's your choice," I replied back to her. Veronica shook her head and looked away from me before replying once more. "I can't believe you'd come over to my house and accuse me of this. You're ducking unbelievable. No wonder your parents think you're such a loser. I can't believe all the crap I put up with that you dragged Billy into all those years, and now you're here saying this shit to me. I want you to leave right now," Veronica replied angrily. I got up from the table but turned to her as I walked away. "I know you're pissed that someone has found you out, but please stop, okay? Don't keep doing the wrong thing," I replied as I then made my way out to the front of the house and left. I can't believe she'd flatly deny it. I figured it'd be hard for her to admit it, but to keep denying it like that. Whatever, as long as she stops it now and that she's aware that I know about them. If she's smart, she'll end it. And that's all I really want. I never mentioned to Veronica that I saw her out with him, or her car parked at Micky's house. I kept those up my sleeve. I'm going to see if next Wednesday she's there again or not. And she was. "Really, Veronica? Your husband's brother has called you out, that he knows about your affair, and your answer is to keep doing it anyway. Okay, I need to talk with her again, but this time I will lay down exactly what's going to happen if this continues." Once again, the neighbor scowled at the noise from my motorcycle as I pulled into Billy's driveway the following Saturday morning. Whatever, old dude. Veronica wasn't pleased to see me this time. She had a look of complete annoyance on her face, as she ushered me out the back and away from the two kids. "What the duck do you want this time, Jack? Are you going to accuse me again, or are you here to apologize?" Veronica asked angrily yet quietly, so that her kids wouldn't hear. "I told you last week that I knew what you've been up to, but you've not ended it. This is your last chance, I mean it. You keep seeing Micky, I'll tell Billy what you've been up to. I don't want to, I'm giving you a final chance to save your marriage and avoid all the sheep coming your way. It's your choice," I replied quietly but firmly. "Who the duck do you think you are? Giving me ultimatums? You don't get to tell me what I can or can't do. If you say anything to Billy about this, I'll make you regret it, asshole," Veronica responded defiantly. "Veronica, I'm not ducking around. If you keep seeing Micky, Billy will know about it. I promise you. Just end this now, and it all goes away. I'll never mention it again, I give you my word," I replied. "There's nothing to end, you idiot. Besides, your word isn't worth sheep. Now I want you to leave, and this time I'm going to make it really ducking clear for you. You're never to come here to my home again. You got that? Not for Christmas, not for birthdays, never. I don't want anything to do with you, and neither will your brother. This is all on you, you piece of sheep," Veronica replied as she showed me the door. Well, that could have gone better, but so be it. If she sees him again, her marriage is done. I probably done the wrong thing by not going straight to my brother in the first place. I honestly thought that Veronica would not want to risk her marriage over an asshole like Micky Johnstone, but that was my mistake. Now I'll just have to wait and see what happens next. It was Tuesday night as I settled in to watch a show when I heard a loud banging on my apartment door. Who the duck is here at this time and banging my door like an asshole? As I open the door ready to give whoever it is a piece of my mind, I see my brother Billy standing in front of me. Before I can say anything, he lunges at me with a right cross, landing on the side of my face and sending me backwards inside the apartment. He then followed up with a punch to my ribs as I was already recoiling. He came at me again throwing another punch, but this time I was able to cover up and protect myself before starting to throw back my own punches. If he wants a fight, he's got one. Both of us threw several more punches, some landing, some not. I could feel blood beginning to run down the side of my face, and from my lip, Billy too was bleeding from cuts to his face. Yet we continued to fight inside my apartment. Billy lunged forward to tackle me, knocking me back against my crappy dining table which collapsed from both our weight. He tried to grab me in a chokehold, but I was able to avoid it while landing an elbow to his jaw which stunned him. I quickly mounted him from behind and applied my own chokehold around his neck. I could feel him struggling to breathe, yet he continued to try and break free and fight on. Eventually I could feel the fight leave him as he started to black out. As he went limp, I released him, pushing him to the ground as I sat back up on the floor. What the duck was all this about? We haven't fought like this in years, and for him to come to my place and just straight out attack me, it must be Veronica's doing. What the duck has she told him? Billy started to stir but looked groggy as he sat himself up. What the duck was that for? My own brother attacking me in my own home? I asked him incredulously. I know what you've been doing. I can't believe my own brother would stoop that low. Billy responded while taking deep breaths. Just wait until I catch my breath, I'm gonna give you another beating, Billy added. You're the one that ended up unconscious, deckhead. If there's another beating coming, it'll be me giving it to you once again. Now, what the duck is this about? It's Veronica, isn't it? I replied. I know you've been coming over trying to get into my wife's pants. Of all people, my own ducking brother, Billy responded. What? Have you got ducking rocks in your head? I replied. I know you've been over multiple times on Saturdays when I'm not home, even the neighbor told me. Veronica tried to cover for you, but I got the truth out of her. She told me that you've always fancied her, that you're jealous of what we have. That it's not the first time you've tried to duck her, but that this time you've threatened her with blackmail. That you've made up some story about her cheating on me, and that you tell me if she didn't duck you. You're a real piece of work, I never thought you'd stoop so ducking low. Billy responded. I just sat there shaking my head in disbelief. That ducking conniving witch. Billy, I've never wanted to duck her. But there was blackmail. I caught her cheating on you and threatened her with telling you if she didn't stop. I gave her a chance to save her marriage, but she threw it back in my face. I should have told you from the start, that's my mistake. I responded. She said you'd lie about it, blame her by saying this crap. Do you really hate me that much that you'd want to duck my wife? Ruin my marriage? I ducking hate you so much right now. Billy replied angrily. Fine, if you don't believe me, get the duck out. I'm done with the pair of you. I really don't need this sheep. I responded, starting to lose my temper again. Billy got up and left, slamming my door on his way out. That ducking witch has played him. No, she's played me as well. I should have seen this coming, but I never expected Veronica to be such a cold manipulative count. Live and learn, I guess. Over the next few weeks, I ignored my desire to want to talk to Billy, to get him to see the truth. I resigned myself to hoping he would come around on his own. Each Wednesday as I left my job site, I would still see Veronica's car parked at Micky's place. That witch is still cheating on my brother, even after I told him she was. This Sunday is my mom's birthday. Usually we have something organized, whether that's lunch at my parents' home, or lunch out at a restaurant. But I haven't heard anything and it's Friday already. While I'm sitting at the bar after work, sipping on my beer, I decided to call Mom to find out what we're doing for Sunday. Hi Jack. What do you want? My mom asked flatly, not her usual tone when speaking with me. Well, hi to you too. I'm just calling to find out what we're doing for your birthday on Sunday. I replied. We've got plans already, but it's best that you're not involved after what you've done. Mom answered. After what I've done? Are you talking about Billy and Veronica? I replied, a little surprised. What else would I be talking about? I've defended you with your father all these years. It's hard for me to admit that he was right all along. That you're a bad apple who only cares about yourself. To do that to your own brother, I can't even begin to understand what goes through that head of yours. But this was the last straw, you've done it this time. Mom responded. Have I really? Veronica is cheating on Billy, and I'm the one in the sheep for pointing it out. I replied. Just stop it, Jack. Enough of your lies. Your father doesn't want anything more to do with you, and for once I'm in agreement. You crossed the line, and none of us want anything to do with you from now on. You're on your own now and you'll have to live with that. Mom replied as she ended the call. Okay, that was unexpected. Not from my father, but from my mom. Veronica has come up with her story to cover up her blatant cheating, and they've all swallowed it, without a thought of wanting my side. Well, maybe it's for the best. Billy's too stupid to realize that his wife is lying to him, and that my mom believes Veronica's lies over her own son. Duck them all, I don't need them. On Sunday, I texted my mom happy ducking birthday. She never responded, which is what I expected. Later that afternoon I got a call from my sister, Britney. Hi Jack. So, what the duck have you done this time? Everyone's real angry with you, they're saying that they're basically disowning you. What the hell is happening? Britney asked me. Hi Brit, good to hear from someone who isn't ducked in the head. I replied with a chuckle. Seriously Jack. What's going on? They said you tried to sleep with Veronica, that you were blackmailing her. Britney asked further. Nah, that's all sheep. I found out that she's cheating on Billy, but instead of telling him I made the mistake of confronting her about it. I stupidly thought that if I spoke with her, I could get her to stop and save their marriage. I just knew it'd destroy Billy if he found out. I replied. So, what did she say to that? Britney followed up. She denied it, of course. I later warned her that it was her last chance to stop it, or I'd tell Billy and let the chips fall where they may. She told me I'd regret it, that she wasn't going to be threatened by me. I replied. Well, it seems she backed that threat up. I know you and Dad haven't got along in ages, but for Mom to talk about you like that, that's new. And Billy, he's always looked up to you. Right now, it's better if you stay away from him. Britney responded. I'm not going to wait around for them to come to their senses. If they want to burn that bridge, let it burn, I say. I responded. You don't really mean that, do you, Jack? Britney asked. Absolutely, I tried to do the right thing, and it's bitten me in the bum. They can all go get ducked now as far as I'm concerned. The funny thing is that I know Veronica is still cheating on Billy, I see her doing it every week. I replied. Who's she sleeping with? Do I know him? Britney asked. It's Micky Johnstone. I went to school with him, not sure you'd know him. He's a ducking car salesman of all things. I answered, laughing a little at the end. Nah, I don't know him. Is he a deck? If he's a car salesman, I'm assuming he thinks of himself as a bit of a player. Britney asked. Yeah, he's a player, right. Never been married but never had any trouble getting the ladies. I used to work with him, we hung out sometimes too. I wouldn't trust that douchebag as far as I could throw him. I responded. Why would Veronica want to cheat on Billy with him? That makes no sense. Britney replied. Yeah, that's what I kept asking myself. That's why I spoke to her, thinking I could talk some sense into her. In hindsight, I should have gone straight to Billy. Now he doesn't believe a word I say, so I'll let him deal with his cheating wife from now on. I responded. How do you find out? You said you know that Veronica is still cheating on him. How exactly? Britney asked further. The house I'm working on is right around the corner from Micky's place. Every Wednesday, I see Veronica drive past just after lunch, and then when I'm done, her car will still be at Micky's place after 2 p.m. I talked to the guys that work with Micky, and they told me he takes a long lunch every Wednesday, getting back to work about 3 p.m. And I saw them kissing out at a club on a night Billy was out somewhere else. I watched them leave together to go back to his place. That's how I know. I replied. Okay. Well, you got to do something about them. You can't just roll over and let her duck you and Billy over like this. Britney responded. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. But if I do something, I'm not doing it so that Mom and Dad, even Billy, can't say sorry and forget all this. They made their choice, they want to kick me out of their lives, well, duck them. I don't want them in mine. You're my only family now. I replied. I'm expecting better birthday presents in future then, think of all the money you'll be saving. Britney responded with a laugh. Duck you, Brit, my ass is still broke. I replied, laughing too. Brit was right, I shouldn't just roll over and let Veronica get away. But what to do? How do I get Billy to realize he's being played? Well, that's the part I've been thinking about. On Monday, I wrote some notes down on a piece of paper, giving it to a workmate who agreed to do this favor for me for the price of a few beers. At 10 a.m. he called my parents' plumbing business, getting my mom on the phone. He then requested a plumbing job to have a bad leak fixed in the main bedroom ensuite for this Wednesday at 2 p.m., giving her the address for the job and the name of Micky Johnstone, although my workmate gave his actual phone number and not Micky's. He also asked for 2 specific requests. The first was that he was given the recommendation for Billy Button, asking if he specifically could do the job, of which my mom told him sure. The second was that he would leave the back door unlocked and for Billy to go around the back and come straight in to get the work done. My mom dutifully took down the job details and assured him that was no problem. That cost me 3 beers after work, but whatever, I'm hoping the payoff is worth it. On Wednesday I kept an eye out for Veronica's car to drive past at the usual time, hoping that they'd keep their usual routine. Sure enough, she drove past right on time. I have no idea if Micky will have his back door unlocked, that's just me being hopeful. What's the worst that happens? Billy will show up and see his own car in the driveway, and have to knock on the front door, wondering where Veronica is when Micky answers the door. Best scenario is that he walks around the back of the house and straight into the bedroom, while they're in the middle of ducking each other. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I knock off 10 minutes early today at 10 to 2, I'm not going to miss this for the world. I didn't want to ride around the corner and park my bike in view of Micky's house, Billy might recognize it or me. Instead, I got my workmate who made the call on Monday to drive us both around the corner and park across the road from Micky's house. Right on cue, Billy drove up and parked on the curb in front of Micky's house. As Billy got out of his truck and grabbed his tools, he turned to see his own wife's car parked in the driveway. He paused, rubbing his head and then checking his phone and the house number. The dumbass was confused as to why his wife would be at his 2 p.m. job. As he approached the front door, he read his phone again, no doubt reading the instructions to go around to the back door before going straight in. The dumbass ignored the instructions and instead knocked on the front door, waiting a bit before knocking again. Billy stood there, scratching his head once more, wondering what to do. He then looked back at his wife's car, looking even more confused. When no one answered the front door, Billy then finally made his way around to the side of the house, going to find the back door like the instructions had told him. Micky's place is only a single level, so as Billy walked off around the side of the house, I wondered if he was going to walk past the bedroom on the way. I got my answer. About 10 seconds later I heard a window smash and Billy yelling, along with Veronica screaming. I could hear furniture being knocked over, as no doubt Billy was now venting his anger out on a very naked and surprised Micky Johnstone. I wish I could have seen that, but hearing it was almost as good. 2 minutes later the front door opened and out stormed a very angry brother of mine, having just caught his loving wife ducking some other guy, just like his brother had told him. Before he got into his truck, I wound down the window and yelled out to him. Hey asshole. Maybe you should have listened to me instead of your lying cheating count of a wife. I then got my workmate to drop me back at the job site, so I could get my motorcycle. A few days later Billy tried to call me, followed up by my mom, but I didn't answer. I instead blocked both their numbers. Ducked them all. I spoke with Britney a few weeks later, and she explained that Billy and Veronica are getting divorced, but that she has got herself a top lawyer, and is demanding full custody of the kids, the house, alimony and her share of the family business. Basically, everything I was worried about when I first found out about her and Micky. Billy is now also up on assault charges, along with break and enter by Micky as well. Well, that's for them to worry about now. I'm not a part of their family anymore. Veronica was wrong to cheat on Billy, I was wrong for not telling him right away. Does that make what I did alright? Well, it felt ducking brilliant, don't know if that makes it alright, and I really don't care. That's it for today's story, my friends. If you loved the video, please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in the next video.